Guys, how's it going today? Chad here with you. Welcome back to the Torquey AM40 channel. Today we are going to take a look at tuning, filter tuning, PIDs, all that kind of stuff on my micro 3-inch reverb. Now there's this consensus that with 3-inch quads that you really have to like tune them differently, and stock Betaflight 3.5 something or even 4.0 doesn't really work. I haven't found that true on my last two builds, the Massive Droner 3-inch and the micro reverb here. I found that I've been able to start with Betaflight defaults and actually increase my PIDs and decrease my filtering at the same time. So we're going to take a look at what I have so far, and we're not going to finish everything in this video today. This will be a multi-step process. But things are looking really good right now on stock with less filtering and higher PIDs. First though, I did try the community presets again, which just did not work out for me. And if we take a look at those real quick, so the filter settings really aren't that different now compared to what comes on Betaflight 4.03 stock. They have two-stage filtering enabled here on the D-term and also on the gyro. They've increased the max hertz to 650 from 450, which I believe is stock. They've also kind of done some things here as far as decreasing PIDs, decreasing minimum the D-min, really low anti-gravity gain, which I'm kind of against. I really like to turn up anti-gravity. I just personally find it eliminates more problems than it creates. There's no sense in putting excessive P or I when you can correct something with anti-gravity. And honestly, the code's gotten a lot better. I don't really notice a huge problem with it anyway. I just kind of put it at like 7 to 10 by default now or whatever and just roll with it. Changing the I-term relax is pretty standard here and everything like that. And of course, setting the TPA rate and breakpoint at 80 and 1800, which we use on D-term only now. This is all pretty standard stuff that everybody should be doing, I think, with Betaflight 4, no matter what size of a quad that you're flying. So these are the current PIDs that I'm using, which aren't too far from the actual defaults. I've went and made a few changes here, pretty much everything that we've already looked at. The biggest thing is the filters. So the logs that we're going to go over with, I was running just biquads here, but I have no second low pass filters on D-term or gyro. So we're running just the two dynamic, the gyro and the D-term, and then of course we have the dynamic notch going in the background as well. So for my next flights, I am going to be changing these to PT1, and we're going to see how that goes. Eventually, though, what I would like to get to is to see if we can just turn off the gyro low pass filtering altogether and then start adjusting the D-term filter to see what we can do with that. This is kind of what Mark at UAV Tech has kind of been preaching. The dynamic notch does such a good job now that, having this gyro low pass on, really is just eating up phase delay, and so your quad isn't able to react, which means you'll get a little bit more prop wash. So if we cut that time down, bring that back to as close to zero as we can as far as latency, then of course we would have the best flying quad that we could have with also the least amount of prop wash. So we'll see how far we can push this little bugger, but I think so far I'm pretty happy with what's going on. Seems like it's a really tight build and a nice tight frame. Alright, so I'm going to put a card up here that will show you the actual build, that is what I have here and everything like that for the micro reverb. And now let's just go and dive into the actual black boxes and take a look at what's happening with the noise. So we're going to take a look at Black Box Explorer and PID Toolbox, since those are kind of the two big things that everybody is looking at right now. And we'll look at just the noise here. So I've got two graphs. Everything is set up in debug mode, gyro scaled. So these spectrographs here are of the actual, this is the after all of the filtering, which you see is very nice and smooth. And this is the before the filtering. So you can see that we got a lot of motor noise from about 180 up to about, if we stretch that out, let's say 350 hertz. So we can probably chop some of that a little bit. But again, we might be able to do a couple other things. Pretty much the same thing on pitch. And, y'all has a big nasty spike there. We pull this up in PID Toolbox and we look at the actual spectrographs here. You can see that we got a lot of black space here because I didn't spend a lot of time above 60% throttle. This was really just kind of a cruising around and ramping everything's up, and I really didn't need to do a whole lot, but I will do some more higher throttle runs and everything. But we can see we got, the nice band going up here, and we would expect this to continue to go up in this sort of linear fashion on the gyro. So this is the unfiltered gyro, this is the filtered, and this is the unfiltered D term, and this is the filtered D term. So all in all, this looks pretty good. We might have a little bit of extra D noise here going on as far as this graph is concerned, so we can work on that in the filtering. We are at a total of 4.83 milliseconds of phase delay. This is our gyro delay, and this is our D term delay. This is a graph of our P versus D. And again, everything pretty much looks the same besides the excessive D noise around here that we saw earlier. A lot of this is just, your typical prop wash and ambient type of stuff. Hopefully we can clean that up a little bit more. We'll see if we need a little bit more filtering down here or up here, or just see what moving the filters around does. A lot of this is trial and error. And double check our motors while we're here, and we can see that our motors all pretty much look the same. So there's really not a lot of going on. It looks like motor 1 and 3 were working a little bit harder than the other ones, probably because I was making only left turns. So it's pretty cool when you can see stuff like that in these graphs. So the big takeaway here is that you really don't have to get super crazy, that the defaults are actually working pretty good if you have a decently built frame. The dynamic notch does a great job as far as eliminating noise, and the stock filtering is not bad. So we'll go over, I'll do another video or two on this to see how much and we can adjust and how much we can actually get away with. Right now, I would call this thing like 95 to 97% good for me, and probably 110% good for most people out there. This thing flies super awesome. I'm not doing HD video on it, but I really don't think there would be any jello in the video or stuff at all. I had acrobats and stuff like this that flew a lot worse and had a lot more prop wash, and I didn't have any kind of jello on them. Maybe it was from the isolated camera, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. So that's just a quick look at the noise profile on this stuff. Give Betaflight 4 defaults a shot on your micro. Let me know what experiences you're having with all that stuff. Thanks a lot, guys. We will talk to you later.